Hey, Booktok besties. So, I don't normally make videos like this, but I'm bothered.
Okay, so Kenzie, this is a extremely privileged take, and I want to explain why in just a second. But books have always been political. Even in our fantasies, even in, you know, the books that a lot of us grew up with, like Hunger Games, Twilight, Harry Potter, and I'm not saying that don't have their own problems in it. No, neurodivergent, the Divergent series, all of that. All books have some level of politics in it. If you're talking about food, if you're talking about religion, if you're talking about race, if you're talking about royalty, if you're talking about marriage, it doesn't matter if it's a fantasy. It doesn't matter if it's a romance. It doesn't matter if it's a thriller, sci-fi, nonfiction, all of it has a level of politics involved. Okay, even cookbooks, because to access the foods, right? To get access to foods, to get access to things, there are levels of politics involved. Agriculture. The FDA is part of the government. It is a government subsidy. Education books. Books we should be reading. Like The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. This should be studied in school. Guess what? It will probably be on the ban list. The Diary of Anne Frank, for example. Everyone should have read it at some point in their life, right? It's on the ban list. Wizard of Oz, a book you would not think should be on the ban list. Guess what? It is. Books like The Giver. Books like Night by Elie Wiesel. Books like And Tango Makes Three, about a real life couple of gay penguins taking in another penguin at the Central Park Zoo. Books by queer authors. Books by black authors. Books by indigenous authors. Books that feature non-Christianity, right? Romance books, sapphic books. If they don't like it, they will put it on the ban list. And this is the problem. I know we want to escape into our favorite worlds and read and support authors and all that. But you know what helps that? By not having us be put in danger. By understanding that a LGBTQ author is putting their life at risk. Not just because they are putting their work out there and now people know who they are, but they're going to be targeted. Right? Same thing with those that are not Christian. I'm not saying this author is Christian. I'm just giving the example with the word witch in it. Okay? That's all. If it has magic system, if it's Muslim, if it's Jewish, they've been targeting non-Christian books. If the author is anyone non-white, like a black author, if the books have truth in history, they will target you. So while it's very privileged to say, hey, I don't want politics in books or on Booktok, that's not the reality. Maybe you forgot, but women weren't allowed to even get an education. We weren't allowed to vote. We would be deemed have mental illness if we wanted to read. Yeah. So while we've come a long way, we're not completely free. And you have every right to unfollow or block whoever you want because that is your page. And I get it. I get it. But so do the people that feel unsafe with Trump supporters. Because they know that they didn't put their human rights at, they didn't think of their human rights when they voted. So things like The Handmaid's Tale, right, is coming true. I'm trying to do this. I'm not so much upset with you as an individual, just this take. Because while it's nice to be able to escape into our little, worlds, our little books, right? And travel to 1,000 different worlds and however much, they all have politics involved. Just something to consider. Now, you don't have to post, who you voted for or why you voted for someone, whatever. That is completely an individualistic choice, right? Like I said, you can block or unfollow anyone you want, as can other people. But understand that this is an extremely privileged take. You and I, as white women, I'm not going to assume that you're in the United States, okay? But white women here in the United States overwhelmingly voted for Trump. Now, I know people are going to be like, well, I wasn't one of them. That doesn't matter. We are part of the problem. White men, y'all too. All right, that's all I have to say.